Hey there folks, it's Gus one more time, and since 2015 I have hired hundreds of inside sales agents for real estate ISAs in the US, Philippines, Mexico, and Central America. If you want to learn how to hire one, check it out. I want you to get all the best tips and don't make the same mistakes I did. Let's jump into it. If you find this video valuable, please crush that subscribe button. We release a new video with tons of value every single week. All right, folks, the first step to getting an ISA hired onto your team is you need to clarify and create a job description. There's a lot of things that go into this. It's a really important step. The job description is an easy way to tell the candidate what you're looking for, what the position entails, and all the key things they need to have to apply. One of the important things the job description needs to have is compensation. What does your overall offer look like? Is it an hourly wage, bonuses, etc.? I have a great video on how much you should pay an ISA. I'm going to link to it in the description below. Please check it out for a lot of great detail on that. Another thing your description needs to say is to describe the role. Are they going to be on the phone 8 hours a day? Are they going to be responding to leads through texting, through messaging on your CRM? Do a great job telling folks generally what the job entails. At the very least, you should let candidates know, is the role primarily an inbound lead focused role where they're responding to folks coming from Facebook, Google, Realtor.com, or Zillow.com? Or is it primarily an outbound prospecting role where they're cold calling neighborhoods for sell by owners or expireds? At a bare minimum, your description should distinguish between those two major ISA roles. Another important piece, especially in 2022 when you're recruiting, is this position going to be in-house in the office or can it be done remotely? Folks, a lot of folks are looking for remote work. If you are open to having your inside sales agent work remotely, the talent pool you're looking for goes from your own city, your own county, to folks all over the county, all over the state, all over the country, all over the world. Folks, it's really, really important to try out working remotely. I cannot recommend it enough. You're going to get more people trying to get that position. You're going to get more talent. And if you're open to hiring outside the US, you can get folks from all over the world at a great price. Another important piece to have in that job description, do you require any specific experience? Do you want folks that are already working in real estate? For example, if you're hiring in-house in the office, some states require ISAs to be licensed real estate agents. So put that in the job description if you need folks to have it. It's an important detail. All right, so that does it with the job description. The next step, okay, you've got that description done. Now you need candidates. Candidates. You want people applying for the position. The more the merrier. One of the big mistakes I see people make when hiring an ISA is they interview too few people. Too many applicants are just not seeing the job. Number one thing I see people can mess up is that they choose the best person out of two candidates. Folks, if you only talk to two people, you didn't talk to enough people. You need to talk to at least 5 to 10 qualified applicants to have any chance at getting a quality ISA on your team. One of my favorite sources of candidates for any new position on a real estate team is your own database. Folks, it is a great way to call through your database. It's a great excuse. It's a great script. Call everyone you know and tell them, hey, guess what? My team is growing and I need your help. I'm hiring for this position. Who do you know that I should know that's thinking about getting into real estate? It's a great way to get referrals, not just for candidates, but for business, for buying and selling as well. Combine both activities, get two birds with one stone, call through your database and get a great hire. Some of the best people on my team right now came from my own database. Friends, family, and people that know me on social media, they can all recommend great people for the job. Another great source of candidates are Facebook groups. This is a really, really underutilized source of candidates. There's all kinds of Facebook groups in your community, in the country, and in the world. They have real estate professionals. They have call center professionals looking for remote work. Look for these Facebook groups, follow the group rules, and post about your job opening. You're going to get candidates, you're going to get comments, you're going to get a bunch of direct messages on social. Respond to these folks and treat them like any other applicant. It'll do well. Last but not least, a reliable source of candidates are the job sites like Indeed.com, ZipRecruiter.com. They're very popular. They're a little bit pricier than the other options, but they can get you qualified candidates relatively quickly. We use these all the time. If you're struggling to get volume of candidates, another great source can be Facebook ads. Facebook ads can be a very quick and cost-effective way to get a lot of candidates in your pipeline. We use it every week to fill up our recruiting classes at PowerISA. It costs more money and it's harder to set up, but once you do it, you're going to get candidates every single week throughout the year. All right, so you've got your job offer and description. You've got a bunch of candidates looking at that offer. They're going to be sending applications. Well, what do you do now? You need to qualify these candidates. It's really important. You don't just want anyone coming in for an interview. You actually want someone that can actually do the job. They have to sound good on the phone. They have to have the basic skills, computer skills, people skills. They have to be the right person. You have to talk to at least, like I said, 5 to 10 qualified candidates to really be able to get a great person for this role. A rule of thumb that I use is that when you're doing the widest net possible, let's say Facebook ads for candidates, you need 100 applications to get 10 qualified candidates to get one solid hire. It's a solid rule of thumb. Do not be intimidated by it because it works. One thing that I think is important to talk about is when you're qualifying candidates, the power of the interview process. I've got a lot of really big thoughts on the interviews. Interviews are great for some things and they're not so great for others. We found that interviews are excellent at judging a potential candidate's skill set. What are their language skills? Do they sound pleasant on the phone or on a web call? Do they seem like a good cultural fit for your team? All of these things can be evaluated pretty effectively over the phone or even on a Zoom call with a candidate. What the interview is not great at is judging someone's character, their values, their work ethic, and their grit. Grit, tenacity is unbelievably important when getting an ISA for your team. Unfortunately, you cannot find out. We have not found a great way to interview for that skill. I don't believe there's a great way to interview for it. The best way to find out if someone has the grit, the values, the work ethic to be on your team is get them hired, get them in the role, and do a 30-day probationary period, test period. For us at PowerISA, that is the final part of the interview. We talk to them, we get them in the role, we get them hired on a probation period, and we see what they can do day in and day out. We're going to find out, do they arrive to work on time? Are they coachable? Are they teachable? Do they have the values that we need to be successful in the role? The only way we found out to do this is to get them hired into that test period and see what they can do. One last thing to say, and I think this is important, is the role of personality assessments. Now, this is important and this is controversial, what I'm about to say. At PowerISA, we do not use personality assessments in the hiring process. That's not to say that these aren't effective. Personality assessments can give you very valuable information. However, we found that there's a lot of diversity in the candidates that we've hired and that have been successful. Sometimes they have the typical ISA personality profile, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes the grit and the work ethic and the motivation wins over that personality assessment. A lot of these assessments even tell you it should be 20 to 30% of your decision. We found that the personality assessment can sometimes provide more noise than helpfulness. That's the reason that we do not rely on them on our hiring process. Make sure you understand any personality assessment that you use and use it the right way, or better yet, don't use it at all if you don't think it's going to be used effectively. Getting the right person hired to do the ISA role for real estate to your team is one of the most important things you can do to take your team to the next level. Do not be intimidated by this process. Every hour, every minute you put into it is going to pay you back tenfold, 100-fold by getting the right person doing this job for your team. If you need help doing this, please check out our new Build Your ISA program, where PowerISA goes in and does all of this for you. We create the ads, we farm the Facebook groups, we look for these candidates, we bring you only the most qualified candidates to interview, and then you select the right person to your team to hire directly. If you're interested, check out the link in the description below. If you found this video useful and thought these tips were great, please hit that subscribe button below. We release a new video every single week. Thanks.